It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Fast-paced white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs. Get over to Joe's today. Do yourself right. We're indoor kart racing. And, we always talk about it's so nice that it's a heated indoor facility. And earlier this week, I think we all noticed it was a teensy bit chilly outside. And I don't know how much it being in a heated indoor facility made a difference. Boy, alive was it cold. And then you've got today where it's, or like yesterday, it was a high of 50. And you don't need a heated indoor facility.
We had white knuckles. But it was,
Oh,
it wasn't from the racing.
It wasn't from the racing.
That was Stan Cisar you hear there. Haven't had him on the show for a while, so I wanted to get him to come back on and kind of talk about his experience down at the Chili Bowl. But yeah, down at your shop, I bet it would take a small fortune to keep those shops comfortable. So you kind of got to bear it with colder temperatures.
Well, we have vehicles moving in and out of there all the time, so you're opening and closing the garage door. But we do have radiant heat, which helps a little bit, keeps the floor warm, and it keeps the area warm. So,
is it harder to install with colder temperatures like this?
We have to keep it comfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, today's show, like we talked about, Stan Cisar going to join us in turn number 1, and Jordan Grabouski is going to join us in turn number 2. We'll talk about his 2018 season, plans for 2019. We'll see if we can't get some details out of him. I heard he is going USMTS racing more often this year, and see the rhyme and reason behind that, if it is indeed true. So we'll talk to Grabo in turn number 2. Turn number 3, Zach Ralston, one of our good friends that we got to get to be friends with in 2017 and 2018. Finally got to meet him in 2018 down at Kansas Speedway. So we'll talk with Zach about what he's been doing in the offseason. And then in turn number 4, it's the Quaker Steak and Lube Daytona 500 party coming up. Dirk, it's 2 weekends away. So
I'm going to go back and look at film, so I'm ready.
But I want to say a big thank you again to Joe's Karting for sponsoring the front stretch and bringing us turn number 1. Don't forget to get over to Joe's Karting today. Indoor karting facility located at joeskarting.com. All the details you need. In the studio now, our first interview of the day brought to you by Roanoke Fabrication, offering powder coating at an affordable price. Get your chassis powder coated for just $275. That's for a bare frame. You can also get reworking done. It's just a little bit more if you're going to have it reworked, sandblasted, anything like that. So if you need an estimate done, just give Jordan a call today, 712-623-4911, 623-4911, or just email him, jordanf@roanokefabrication.com. I saw pictures on their Facebook page. They had powder coated somebody's four-wheeler to get it ready for the 2019 season. So, Dan, you got the Stan Cisar Racing number 47 all ready to go?
It could probably be done in about an hour if there was a race going on. Pretty close. It's pretty much ready to go.
I'll check back with you an hour before a race starts and see how
we were down to a bare frame. We had all the new chassis updates installed, the safety updates and everything like that, because we're planning on running a few tracks that do mandate those. They're not, the local tracks haven't done it as of yet, but it's a good idea. It's a good idea, and had a couple little things we want to do to the car, so it went down to Eagle, and they took care of everything, got it ready to go, repowder coated, put the body and everything back on, checked the engine and everything like that. We're good, I think, till mid-July, August, around the 1st of August or so, and then we're going to freshen it up right before the Nationals.
What, Cody Ledger still driving for you?
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Good. I want to see him get into victory lane this year. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, we were close a couple times last year.
Stan don't want that.
I waited in the pits. I mean, there was a couple of times he had it, and I thought, oh, here we go. And I would kind of peek up at the booth, and it's just I could see the excitement. And then as racing happens, luck got in the way.
As they say, that's racing.
Yeah.
But it's everything. Everything points to a really busy season. He's got a pretty ambitious schedule, racing everything from the 305 to the 410 with World of Outlaws, with USAC, the Wingless Auto Racing 360 and 410 wingless sprints, and Sprint Series of Nebraska back in action in 2019. So we're going to try to hit most of those shows, because a lot of those are on off nights. He'll be making the trip up to Jackson, Minnesota quite often, as usual, a couple times doing probably both the 410 and the 360 Nationals at Knoxville,
that'll be a long week for the liver of those guys.
We've got and there's a couple races. Race on at US 30 in the 305 on Thursday night, and then take the 360 to Jackson and maybe Knoxville or Park Jefferson on Friday and Saturday, and then came back. And we have the Charlie Clark this year at I-80 Speedway on the Sprint Series of Nebraska schedule, so be back down. So it'll be a 4-nighter, and.
Fresh off his Chili Bowl, has he got any more midget racing planned?
Well, not till the next Chili Bowl. I think the engine is going to be heading out to California to get an upgrade, and that was the weak link this year. I'll tell you, we had you draw. Come in and draw for your E-race and draw the number 100. Things aren't too good. So he started 9th in the first heat, which is primarily usually a narrow track without much passing going on. And he went from 9th to 4th pretty quick and was passing for 3rd. The second place car loses it and takes them all out. And he actually got through it, but he broke a right front shock and it was hanging off the car. So the officials sent him up the ramp. So then if you're the first car out of the first heat race of the night, that starts you
back in the queue or some
feature?
No,
well, it started at the back of the C. Started 18th in the C. They were taking 6th, and he got to 7th. So it went forward every time he hit the track. Went forward. Saturday moved up 3 features before we finally missed a transfer spot by 1. And by that time, like I say, the engine was not really performing anywhere near potential. Couldn't. There was something electrical we're thinking, and it's going to get a major upgrade. Sponsors came up with some money, and they want to go back next year. They saw that glimmer of hope because, like I said, it was really a good event for Cody. I mean, he passed cars. Josh Most had another good event. I'd have bet on him possibly sneaking into one of those upper features, maybe even the final A on Saturday night. He had a good starting spot. And he's got a really good race car that they purchased from
Justin Allgaier.
Allgaier, yeah, and it's a matter of fact. I think Allgaier wishes he had it back because his newer cars haven't been performing as good as the one that Josh has got. Quite a few local guys down there this year. Tad Holloman had some problems. Jake Neal was down there racing this year. Blaine Peterson. Cody, of course, Josh Most, and Don Drought Jr. out of Lincoln, and like I said, a lot of local interest going on, and the racing as usual. They added one extra qualifying night. They had probably between 65 and 70 cars in 5 nights qualifying, so there was plenty of great racing going on, and every qualifying night A feature was off the charts, and Kyle Larson picked up a win. Rico,
Bell,
Christopher Bell. I think Justin Grant one night was a winner, but it came right down to the final lap, the white flag. What can you say? And it's quite a deal.
374 cars is what I heard.
I think the final tally was 357, but more than plenty.
Yeah,
absolutely. and
had they planned to add that extra night ahead of time, or was that a decision to be made?
I think they planned it last year, and it basically cost everybody a practice session, which you still had some practice, and it was everybody had a practice session on Monday morning, and then everybody got their nightly practice session the night that they were set to qualify, and that I don't think was really an issue for you're pretty much dialed in before you get there, but there was again this year a lot of rookies. Mm-hmm. A lot of new drivers and people they want to race one time. I was impressed. A couple of guys impressed me. Probably Alex Bowman.
Yeah.
Of the guys that were out of the NASCAR ranks and stuff like that. Guy drove really well. I thought he did a good job. Landon Castle on his qualifying night didn't do too bad. Chase Briscoe, of course, whose roots are in dirt, before he got to NASCAR. They were pitted right next to us, and we had a great spot, and it was like it was a party that a race breaks out every once in a while, And
that's what I've always been told is that if you go down to the Chili Bowl with the Ledgers, you better bring your big boy pants.
Oh yeah, I was
and your spare liver.
I heard something about Clabundy forgot his somewhere.
I'm not even going to go there. But
John Clabundy might still be recovering.
I was the designated driver for most of the week, so So I was keeping it clean pretty much. But we had a great time. The disco ball and in the speakers in the pit area. We won the trailer races every night when they cleared the building, and then looked for somewhere else to go. But I was getting driving lessons though, so I mean it wasn't the weekend. The weekend wasn't. I was being critiqued on my driving ability and
on the berm a little too much, were you?
No, not so much. But then it got to be a pretty good joke. So then we'd get back to the hotel. And I would park intentionally, taking up 2 spots, and the Stan Cisar School of High Performance Parking.
It's been a busy couple of weeks. Had a lot of award ceremonies. Got the Eagle Raceway one out of the way. Got the Nebraska 360 and the I-80 Speedway one.
And boy,
isn't it so great? I mean, I always used to think it was weird to have the awards ceremony in January, but this year I really loved having it in January because I got to that point where I was starting to miss all my racing friends, and we got to sit down and have some beers and share a great meal and some old stories from the season.
And we had a great time at all the banquets. Actually, it's
some of those answers. The I-80 banquet, Lisa loves to do those shenanigans. If you've never been to it,
I think this
you're
year,
missing out.
I think this year because of the crowd interaction, the shenanigans usually just involved a bunch of drivers.
Yeah.
This year, everybody in the place was involved, because they had the match game.
Yep, they nailed it.
And every table came up with your answers, and there were prizes, and we had some great answers at our table.
I loved Anthony's the most. The crowd didn't like his answer at all.
The best answer of the night. Well,
you're just going to – listen, I hate to leave you guys hanging, but you're going to have to come to one of these to find out what we're talking about because it was a hooting and hollering good time. But I think – who was it that had the answer about what did Joe Koziski run over in the pits? Who was it that had the best answer out of that? Was the
I'm trying to remember now.
I think it was Matt. Was it Matt Andrews?
I remember what our answer was. It was the pit reporter. But
anyway, sorry to take everybody an inside baseball conversation there, but heck of a time, and it was so great to see everybody. And now we turn around and most of the schedules are out. I think the Sprint Series in Nebraska schedule is about to be released, or is it?
There is Sprint Series of Nebraska right now. I believe is at 14 events from Park Jefferson to I-80 to US 36 in Cameron, Missouri, to Eagle, to US 30 out in Columbus, and it's going to be a great year. Plenty of racing going on, plus all the weekly shows for the 305 guys, and then I'm sure we do the Front Row Challenge in Oskaloosa every year with the 305, and then I think hopefully this year when we'll get rained out, Jackson will have a 305 Nationals up there, and we were really looking forward to that race, loaded and ready for that race, and just unfortunately both nights fell to Mother Nature last year.
First race at Eagle, I believe, is March 30th. Is that Cameron race on the 29th? Is that a 305 sanctioned race?
That is the Wingless Auto Racing Series, which are non-winged sprint cars, as well as the SSN Sprint Series of Nebraska 305s. That'll be a 2-nighter on Friday night. US 36 Speedway in Cameron, Missouri, which is just east of St. Joe, Missouri. Couple-hour drive, not bad. Great track. It's almost a carbon copy of Eagle. Then on Saturday night they move to Eagle. Following week we start with the Spring Meltdown at I-80 Speedway. 2 big nights of Malvern Bank Series and Nebraska 360s. The following week, we got the Bug Eater Bash back at I-80 Speedway. That's going to be all the weekly classes. Plus, on Saturday night, the Sprint Series of Nebraska has their 3rd race of the year. And the first one in quite a while at I-80 Speedway. Great to have 3 events back at I-80 for Joe and the gang. Following week, we go back to the Icebreaker at Eagle Raceway. That's a big modified special going on.
That was one of my favorite races last year.
Sprint Series in Nebraska is going to be back at that one. We'll talk to Jordan a little bit later on about that because he actually had a pretty good weekend down there at that one. But the Bobby Parker Memorial back at I-80 Speedway, racing going on all summer long. It looks to be a very good year.
It's frigid and terrible outside. I know today's a little bit better, but it's going to turn again. We know it will because end of January and February always does. But before you know it, we're going to blink and we're going to be at a racetrack.
When you talk about racing, though, it makes you feel a little bit better about the cold because you know you got something to look forward to.
I've been trying all last week. I was channeling the Silver Dollar Nationals. I was sitting in my house, stocking cap, hoodie, thick socks, watching TV, and just thinking of James Essex calling the race and how much I sweat sitting in that booth, just pushing buttons, playing music, and making announcements. And I was trying to put myself in that position as much as I could.
You're not talking about our air-conditioned announcing facilities, are you?
Is it air-conditioned?
Well,
I didn't notice.
On paper.
When you sweat, the air is conditioned.
We used to be able to open that front window. We can't do that anymore.
No. They can't let the hot air out now. Keep an eye out for the 47 to Stan Cisar Racing. Looks like it's going to hit the track March 29th at Cameron, and then up here locally at the Rumble in the Bull Ring on the 30th the following night. So be on the lookout for that one. Stan, always do love having you. I think we're going to get you back at the Precise Racing Products Open House in a couple of weeks when we sit down and talk to all of our sprint car fans.
Oh yeah, we got a big show planned. We're going to be talking with a lot of different groups of people about a lot of different things, and even getting into the technical aspect just a little bit of some of these cars and classes, and it should be a great day to get some good interviews, and it'll give you a lot of weeks of entertainment on Sunday mornings.
I always like it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. Jordan Grabouski just around the corner on the front stretch.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
Every driver is looking for the competitive edge, and fantasy racing is no different. Get the competitive edge on your league by subscribing to fantasyracingtips.com. Chad Robb, a member of the Fantasy Sports Writers Association, gives you great insight, statistics, and easy to understand information for each race. He'll give you the competitive advantage that'll put Benjamins back in your wallet. From DraftKings to season-long NASCAR fantasy leagues, Chad knows who you should take each race. Turn your fantasy season around at fantasyracingtips.com.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Rolling into turn number 2, and it's time to sit down to probably one of the winningest local A-Mod drivers in the area. Jordan Grabouski joining us on the phone now, part of the Red Oak Fabrication interview line. Get your car powder coated for an affordable price. A bare chassis, just $275. If you need to get any reworking done or sandblasting, it might be a little bit more, but you can give Jordan a call today, 623-4911. That's 712-623-4911. Or just email Jordan, Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com to get your estimate today. That's Red Oak Fabrication. Jordan Grabouski on the line with us. Grabo, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing really well. Glad to hear you're better, and at least you're able to talk to us. A heck of a year in 2018, and you mostly raced Beatrice. I don't think you ever lost there. Meaning coming in second place or worse. And then weekly at Eagle, ran really well there. I think you were able to pick up the track championship. So talk a little bit about your 2018 season.
Just when you look back on it, I don't know how much better it could get for us other than let a few big races, when we traveled out of state and stuff like that, get away from us, ran second at Marshalltown and stuff like that. But weekly, Beatrice had a great year, won every race there. So that was, how do you beat that, I guess I should say. And at Eagle, we had a great season and ended up picking up the track championship and won a few races at Columbus on US 30 Speedway on Thursday nights. Had a tremendous season. Can't even complain about it, and it's a lot of hard work and a lot of puts a lot of expectations on you for 2019. I guess So
I think
everybody expects a lot out of you.
you picked up most of the hardware at the Eagle Banquet. I know all the hard charger awards passed. I don't know how many cars coming from that 12th hole in the A feature every Saturday night, down there, and probably the same thing at Beatrice. But I know you were making a lot of trips up to the stage and collecting some hardware.
Yeah, the Eagle Banquet, man, it's crazy. You get a lot of people, even at the banquet there. I think they said there were 600 people there or something like that. So that was really neat and really cool to get the hard charger and miscellaneous trophies at Eagle. And
Yeah, one of them we really can't talk about because it was, I don't think the FCC would allow us to talk about it on the radio.
Right, that was a pretty cool trophy, though. Never got one of those before.
Yeah, I bet you never got one before.
I guess we could use our sound effect, couldn't we? It's the to the walls trophy because you were definitely putting them out there.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun racing Eagle Raceway this year. Which it's always fun when you're competitive, but just it was fun going up there again on Saturday night.
Last year you chose to make the weekly trip down there, and I picked up, 8 or 9 feature wins at Eagle, and gosh, I mean, kind of made a shambles of that deal. But as I said, always you got a lot of great fans down there. A lot of people like to see you on Saturday nights, and you're always welcome there whenever you choose to drop in, whether it's on a semi-regular basis or on a weekly basis.
Well, it was exciting. It was an exciting year there, and it was definitely fun. And it's always fun when you have a lot of people there, and when you get to take 2 vehicles full of people that want to go up and watch. And I've never sold so many T-shirts in my life that we did every Saturday night at Eagle. So
well, there you go.
It was a fun year, for sure, all across the board. But when you're running well, it makes it a lot more fun, I should say. And especially with your friends and.
You kind of kicked off the season a little bit different, though. Not only did you win in the modified division, but you were behind the wheel of that stock car.
Yeah. Yep.
What was your win percentage in that thing? Like 100?
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. But actually, by myself, I was driving that for Max Busboom and Kevin Schmidt out of Fairbury. Kevin is, and now his boy's going to race it this year. But I actually purchased myself a new stock car, so we're going to do some more stock car racing, I guess, and see how that goes this year.
I liked that because you were about the only one that could give Mike Nichols a run for his money.
Yeah, that's which I've known Mike for a lot of years, and he's got a ton of laps in them things. But we're definitely. I know there's some big stock car races. I know Hayes, Kansas has a 5,000 to win, and Marshalltown has a 5,000 to win. And so we're gonna and a lot of big specials. I know I-80's got some some bigger stock car races, and Eagle has the start of the year stock car race. So we're gonna go try and hit those and see how that turns out. But it was a lot of fun to drive it. So
Very
probably
cool.
the most fun I had.
Speaking of the I-80 Specials, probably one of your favorite races. I know it's one of my favorite races, the Charlie Clark Memorial. You were a bit of a man on a mission this year. Yeah,
it was. The racetrack was tough to pass this year for the Charlie Clark. If you look back, but we had a good. We passed just as many cars, I think, as anybody did at the Charlie Clark. But I love that race, and just because it means so much to us, just knowing Charlie and having one of him and Justin's cars for all them years and having a lot of success with it. So race means a lot to the Kaziski family and means a lot to Ben and Melissa Novotny, which are some of my really good sponsors, and means a lot to me too. So.
And it seems to be a little bit more of a special race. The special format, and obviously it means a lot for the people that knew Charlie or knew of Charlie, but a lot of drivers, that's becoming a prestige race. The payout's great, the trophy's cool, but they want their name on that plaque.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's just neat how they do it, anyways. So that's what brings everybody can say, the pay and this and that, but just the prestige of it, the pit stop in the middle of it's always intense. It's just something that you look forward to going to every year.
And that's got to be a nerve-wracking thing because if your crew, you lean on your crew more in that race. Because you lean on them even amount all year long. But in that race, if they happen to miss a lug nut or they're late getting it off the jack and you get penalized, your chances of winning that race are pretty much out the door.
Exactly, for sure, 100%. It's more a crew effort than it is anything.
Had a really fun time watching you and Bob Zobek and Rick Gropp and Justin Wolf and Shane Hyatt and the Jet racing hard for wins Saturday nights at Eagle Raceway. When a driver elevates themselves to a new level, it's generally because they are incredibly smooth behind the wheel. And Stan talked about it earlier that a lot of the times you had to come from the 12th hole in order to win those races. And passing 11 cars is incredibly difficult to do at a track like Eagle when there's not much room to pass 3 or 4 cars.
Yeah, but for the most part, Eagle's always racy. You can either run the bottom, run the top, and that's what makes that place, it's challenging because the banking is forgiving, so then a lot of cars are fast that normally aren't fast. But then again, it's always racy. If you have a good race car, it seems like you can find your way to the front at Eagle Raceway, it seems like. So we had a lot of breaks this year, too, cautions coming out when you need them. I mean, that's had a lot of luck on our side to run that well also.
To have the season you did at Beatrice and Eagle, is there something that you pride yourself on that you do that you think maybe you do better than other people? That maybe somebody listening to this, a young sport mod driver that wants to come up to the modifieds can take a little lesson from Jordan Grabouski?
I think the biggest thing is what we do is we do the same thing every week, and that's you maintenance your race car. You don't just win one weekend and then say, all right, well, that thing's good enough. We go back to the drawing board every week, trying to make it a little faster, trying to tune on it. And sometimes you go backwards. Sometimes you try something in a heat race and you're like, well, that's not going to work. That's totally not the way we had that thought out in our minds. So just trying to be better every week and make our race cars faster every week, and that's the biggest thing that's helped us along the way is and having really good help. I mean, if you have a good help and a good crew that enjoy it, it's a lot. Anymore it's not just driver. You got to have really good help, the people to help you with your tires, people to help you with setup on your car, just to make the weekly maintenance. And I've got a really good crew and really good, my brother-in-law's, spends more time on it than I do. I'm at work and they're out there working on the thing on Saturdays. So without them guys, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you guys. So a lot of that's the help that you got behind the scenes that nobody sees.
Oh, we'd still be talking to you. We don't talk just with the winners. We talk to everybody.
Right.
Do you want to mention some of those guys? Mention the names.
Well, Josh Hausman, which is my brother-in-law, he's my right-hand man. He scales a car. He's been building the new race cars for customers that we've been doing them for. And then Eric Ebling, he does the tires, and Steve Derman does the fuel, and keeps everything organized, keeps everybody organized, keeps the beer cooler full, I should say.
That's the most important thing, probably.
You'll never not have a cooler with you if Derm's with you. And then Bryson Fralin, he's the maintenance guy out there grinding every week, grinding the tires and washing the cars and keeping everybody going. So everybody kind of has their own little niche, because everybody has full-time jobs. So at night, everybody kind of has their own little niche and keeps everything going, and that's what keeps it fun because we're all involved and all very competitive too.
How's that beautiful wife of yours doing?
She's doing awesome. We're excited to get to see. She's more excited about the stock car than I am. So.
Really?
She has a lot of fun. She's more competitive than I am half the time.
You touched on the plans to run some more of the big stock car, the big hand shows and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about what your plans are for 2019.
Well, we're gonna start off with Beatrice at the Spring Nationals, and then we'll move into the specials like. Marshalltown has a 5,000 to win stock car race. The Eagle Icebreaker, I-80s. Why am I drawing a blank?
The Bug Eater.
The Bug Eater. There you go. So we're going to run all them races at the start of the year. Hayes their spring show, and then just kind of see where it all falls, and maybe do some more traveling and some different things. Just kind of see how the year goes. It's so you can't just say, hey, I'm going to do this, because you got to make sure that it's in your budget and you can afford to go do it, and that all depends on how you're racing and how well you're running and, the winnings that you earn. But
with the cost of the cars nowadays, getting up to field a competitive modified for a season, you need to knock off a few of those big shows to help out, the ones that don't pay quite as much.
Well, it just definitely helps. You know what I mean? You can get the car to the racetrack, but if you win some money, that's what buys you some more tires and fuel and stuff and gets you to the next week.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's but the way we looked at it is, there's some bigger stock car races, 5,000-10,000 to win, and the modifieds racing for $1,000. So it's like, well, let's go run some stock car races and see what we think. So Brandon Johnson at Big Johnson Racing Chassis, he's actually welding us a car together. It's just barely on the jig. So we got a lot of work to do before the Spring Nationals, which is completely normal for us. We're always last minute and, always work till 5 a.m. then the night before to get ready to go.
Is that going to be your first race? Is the Spring Nationals out at Beatrice?
Yes, that's the game plan. So I've got some guys' cars I got to get done in the shop, so they can race the spring show. So we've been trying to finish them up, and it's been a kind of a crazy off season already. We've been working in the shop for a couple months now. So
I'd heard some rumors. Sorry, Dirk, go ahead.
I was going to say, Stan can tell you all about guys lining up outside his shop the night before the race, wanting their lettering and their wraps put on. So that's nothing new for him.
There might be a blue car outside your shop here in a couple weeks.
I'd heard a rumor that you might be going USMTS a little more.
Not necessarily. Might race that Vado race at the end of the year. That new racetrack, that Royal Jones. Me and Phillips might put a couple cars together and go race that. And Humboldt's kind of up in the air. That I might go race a car for Phillips at Humboldt and stuff like that. So just kind of see. I know Terry's going to drive one of my other cars, possibly at the Spring Nationals and some of the bigger races at the start of the year. So I might go race his other car at Humboldt, and Vado at the end of the year is some tentative plans, I should say.
That works out pretty good. You guys have a pretty good working relationship together.
Yeah, he drives my cars and usually wins, and then I get in his and I tear him up. So that's why he doesn't really like.
I have a tough time believing that.
Well, the running joke was that for a while that all I did was tear his stuff up, and all he did is win money and money.
Why don't you thank some of them great sponsors that help pay for the operation?
By far, I'd like to thank. The biggest thing is my job, Twin Rivers Chrysler Jeep Dodge. They let me go race and have fun and still employ me and have a good working relationship with them. Friesen Chevrolet, they supply us with our crate engines and very, very good for our program, and GRT race cars. Terry Phillips, Tommy Mook, Wojo Painting. There's so many people I've got. Kaiser Manufacturing. Got a lot of people on the side of the car. Joey Herget, Sass Farms, Dematney Ag. I just, the big thing is thank my wife lets me do what we love to do, and she's just much involved as anybody, and my crew guys. So I couldn't do it without everybody, and I know I'm missing a lot of sponsors there, but just couldn't do it without everybody.
Jordan Grabouski, typically in the number 30 modified throughout the area. You'll see him first. And are you running the 30 for the stock car at Beatrice?
Yep, the stock car will be mine, so it'll be number 30. Yep.
All right, you'll see him, fingers crossed, you'll see him at the Spring Nationals at Beatrice in just a couple of weeks.
That's right.
I guess it's a little over a month away, so you get a little more time.
And it's going to be blue before it's lettered and striped and wrapped and whatever. He already said that, so we don't know what color it's going to be yet. But.
Right.
Good luck, Jordan.
Hey, well, thank you guys, and appreciate the interview. So.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on, and I'm so glad we finally got caught up with you. I missed you once, and then the sickness got you, and so third time was a charm.
I just went and hid in a van on the parking lot so nobody could get to me. So.
See you, bud. Have a good one.
Thanks, man.
Jordan Grabouski of obviously Jordan Grabouski Racing. You can find him on Facebook. Drives number 30 modified. Probably one of the better drivers in the area.
And
I mean, somebody that, and he's not only is he an awesome driver, but he's just a good guy.
Good guy, and one of the most popular drivers. Like he said, sold a lot of T-shirts, and that's usually a pretty good indication that he's a fan favorite.
Yep, absolutely. So make sure to follow Jordan Grabouski on Facebook. Keep up to date with everything he's doing, and then go see him in the pits. Typically, he's going to end up on the front stretch after a race is over with. Clean, smooth, easy-going driver.
And fast.
And I was surprised a couple of times. I think the story I remember the most, we were talking about it off the air, was him at the Spring Meltdown and or at the Icebreaker Challenge at Eagle Raceway. And I thought for sure him and Hunter Marriott were going to get out swinging fists, and they got out acting like they were at a hobby stock feature. They smiles, high-fiving. Hunter was able to pick up the win, but man, they raced hard for 10 laps.
And as I say, coming from back, usually being the points leader, you're starting back in that sixth row every week, patiently aggressive.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break. Zach Ralston will join us in just a few minutes on the front stretch.
Finding a home can be the most important decision in your life. It's the simple factors of neighborhood, garage size, the school district, and commute that get overlooked by most realtors. Those are the aspects that Jim Blazina has been focusing on since 1988. From rental properties to your forever home, the Racing Realtor will work hard to get you exactly what you're looking for, and he can help list your home for a speedy sale. Contact Jim Blazina today, 402-980-8400, or jblazina@npdodge.com.
We all have that coworker that runs their mouth off at how great they are. They shot a 5 under par, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, bench press 375, brah. Wouldn't you love to shut them up by schooling them at Joe's Karting? Council Bluffs' premier indoor karting track, professionally designed so each corner is your opportunity to embarrass your coworker. Call Buddy for your next company outing at 712-256-5278. Joe's Karting, white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue next to AMC 17.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole of the front stretch and the home of MAV TV, featuring action from the Lucas Oil Late Model Series.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Located on Mid-America Drive in Council Bluffs.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to it, heading into turn number 3, and it's time to have another Red Oak Fabrication powder coating interview. If you need your chassis or any kind of metal powder coated, it doesn't have to be a race car, it doesn't have to be a four-wheeler, it can be an implement fleet piece. If you've got a discer or a plow that needs to be reworked, take it into Red Oak Fabrication and have them powder coated. It'll last a lot longer than regular paint.
Make a custom plug for your receiver or something for your hitch, anything like that. I mean, it'll come out with a finish just like a refrigerator.
RedOakFabrication.com. Get a free estimate. Just email Jordan F at RedOakFabrication.com. Joining us for the next Red Oak Fabrication interview, a man that we finally got to meet in person at Kansas Speedway, races for the ARCA Series. That is Zach Ralston of R-Tiling. Is that what it is?
R-Tile under modeling.
There we go. I see your work on Facebook, and I show it to my girlfriend every time, she says, "Can he come over and do our bathroom? Because what you did looks terrible."
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Of course, all Dan did was just put an outhouse in the driveway, so.
She's still not happy. To be out with nature.
It was definitely awesome meeting you guys finally at Kansas. We had a great race there. We ended up finishing 9th. I know I got you guys full of chips and salsa from Cancun, so that was great, too.
That was the biggest bowl of salsa I've ever seen, by the way.
And queso there. No, we had a great time. A lot of people there. The race was awesome. We ended up finishing 9th there, so that was our best finish, a top 10 for us. And our team, that was huge. And looking forward to this year. Going to start building a new car.
Got to be very exhilarating and charging to walk off on that kind of a finish. So now you got to start buckling down and figure out how you can get that first top 5.
Yeah, it was. It was a pretty honorable way to send the steel bodies off. That was the last time the steel bodies are allowed to run on the 1.5-mile track. So to finish in the top 10, that was kind of a cool way to send those off in the history books, really. So and yeah, now looking forward to building a new car. We showed some momentum. We could finish in the top 10 with a old style car and old style motor. So looking forward to seeing what we can do with the new style car and new motor.
Well, you told us, how much, you were down the 40, 50 horsepower in the engine department, and you could really see it there at Kansas Speedway. I mean, it didn't look like you lifted much in the turns, and those guys had to lift. They'd stretch it out on you on the straightaway, and then you'd reel them back in, and it was interesting.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's almost like playing Mario Kart, and they have the star the whole time. So, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to having, being in the same battlefield with the same car is going to be a lot different now for me. So I'm looking forward to that. Getting top 10s, top 5s, looking for a win this year. I'm hoping to run Charlotte my first race, which is May 23rd down in North Carolina. So
Do you get to do any practice ahead of time to get the feel out of that new car, or is it going to be just race day practice or race weekend practice?
Right now it's the process of, I don't want to skip this process, the sponsor process is marketing partners as well. I'm looking for more marketing partners to buy a new car and to build.
Okay.
I also would like to redo my black car as well. But there is a test a few weeks before Charlotte. There's a test, the race actually, that I will get to drive the car, one of the two cars. If we don't get the new car bought or get the old car switched over in time, I'll just wait and keep saving money until it happens.
Are you still going to be working with Andy Hillenberg's crew, or you got something else worked out this year?
Yes, sir. Right now, I hope to be working with somebody, that's for sure. Andy's been treating me really well, and always had a great time with his guys and everything. Right now, Andy's got a full-time ride signed for the whole year, so if I'm fortunate enough to keep working with Andy, that's going to be awesome. If not, we have to run our own number. Either way, I'm going to try to run with Andy. Yes, sir. Andy's
a good deal and a great opportunity for you too. Good experience and very helpful, huh?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's guided me through the process. He's kept me patient. He's told me when to go, when not to go. I've been fortunate enough to surprise him, and that's been kind of my goal. Because I really look up to Andy Hillenberg and his as a driver and as a mentor, because he's really coached me along and guided me through, and he's believed in me. So hopefully some of those guys don't spend all their money, and I get a shot to run one of his cars for him as well.
Well, you talked a little bit about it. Those sponsorship dollars are ever so important. We're learning that more and more, even up in the Cup Series, where guys are starting to lose rides because they don't have enough sponsorship dollars for an entire season. How are you coming on the sponsor hunt?
The sponsor hunt, we're always looking for more people to jump on board. Yeah, racing, that's for sure. I'm fortunate enough to have Cancun back on board to help with the new process of building a new car. And getting back to the racetrack, we also have Northway Plumbing back on board, E&D Heating and Cooling. My business, I pour every nickel and dime that I make from the tiling business into my racing career. So just looking for more partners, making some cool videos, adding value to the marketing program for racing. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it works in business, and it's a proven thing that it's worked for us.
I know you and I were chatting a little bit online about the way some sponsors kind of show up and then they disappear, with another driver hijacking. Have you had any real issues with that? Or
Absolutely. I've already had people reaching out to my partners and everything like that, and I don't blame them. It's kind of their easy way of, instead of reaching out to somebody new, it's their easy way of kind of reaching out to somebody that's already knows the sport. Fortunately enough, I'm making good enough relationships, and I recommend to all drivers, let's be upfront, be honest with all your marketing partners. That other people are going to offer them better deals sometimes, better things that you can offer them, and that's not what you're selling. You're selling yourself, know. And I don't agree with that. I'm not going to say that someday I might not run, somebody else's sponsor, but it's going to have to be a team sponsor. It's not going to be somebody's personal sponsor that I took or personally reached out to take. I'm not going to call Kyle Larson. I call it Kyle Larson. He's a classic driver that likes to take sponsors.
Careful now. He's a pretty popular guy. You don't want to make people upset about that.
No. I mean, it's the truth though. I mean, everybody has the internet nowadays. So,
well, I know that
I work for Justin Allgaier, and he runs the Brandt logo now, and I mean that's Justin Allgaier's sponsor in my eyes. So.
Yeah. I know that you do a really good job of, when somebody gives you sponsorship dollars, it's just not a name on the side of the car. There's a lot of that's almost like second nature. Like that's a secondary part of the sponsorship is the name on the car on race day. There's interviews and opportunities and appearances, and you really do go the extra mile to try to maximize the dollars that clients are spending with you.
Absolutely. I try to give them above and beyond the ROI. It doesn't matter to me whether they're spending $5 or $50,000 with us. You're going to get me 100% the same way all the time. I'm going to promote your business as much as I possibly can with my following and using the race cars, our marketing tool. It's a pretty powerful tool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we got a real good relationship with David Starr, and he always speaks with us about how he's been out beating the bushes and whatnot. And
he's always in a meeting, isn't he?
He is a lot.
He's always in a meeting. I like David a lot. Yeah, he's a good guy.
But his biggest deal is taking care of sponsors. You look at what Whataburger does for him, and he's going to have something on a car somehow, some way at every racetrack.
Absolutely.
And he just says you got to take care of these people.
Yeah, I was actually fortunate enough to get good advice from David. About 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, I was bragging about getting on a TV show with the Academy and going out to SEMA to the car convention and everything like that. And I was waiting for his response. Like, I thought he was going to be like, "Whoa, cool, the car convention," and tell me some cool story. And he kind of looked at me and he gave me some really good advice. He says, all the drivers go to the car conventions. What about the drivers that go to the ketchup food conventions or the sheet conventions or the concrete conventions? That's where you probably want to focus for sponsors instead of going to the car ones where all the drivers in America are going to. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
That's really good advice for someone seeking sponsorship. So anybody out there, younger kids looking don't always follow the yellow brick road, I guess.
Well, the ketchup convention, that kind of goes with Whataburger, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean.
What you're saying there is that if all you're doing is going to PRI for sponsorships, you're going to a place where everybody is getting hit up for sponsorship dollars. Instead of going to PRI, maybe go to that home show.
Right. What he said was at the home show, all the race car drivers are going to be attached to that race car, or the fans are going to be attached to the race car. At the race car convention, the race car is really not going to stand out.
Right.
So
that's great advice. I mean, that makes perfect sense to go somewhere where, first off, you can expose new people to racing and you can stand out, and that's all that matters. I mean, if you can stand out in a crowd, you're golden.
Absolutely. And that's what the race car is for. It's a huge marketing tool.
Yeah.
Huge marketing tool. Yeah. So all my younger race car, go-kart guys, take that advice. That helped me out a lot.
That is some great advice, and from a guy that we've learned many times has a lot of knowledge to pass on to the younger audience. So,
yes, sir. Thank you, David. I appreciate it.
I know we talked a little bit. You're working hard to get sponsorship dollars and get the car built and get going. You said your first race, you've got it circled to be in May. Are you going to be at Kansas or Iowa? Any one of those races?
And my goal is to run the same 3 races. Well, clearly the main goal is to be fully funded and run a whole series, go for a championship. But right now it'd be to get a new car, competitive car with a new style motor, so we can actually go for wins. And whether that happens within the time frame of May 23rd, which is Charlotte, June 7th, or June 9th, I think, which is Chicago, and then October, which is Kansas. So those are the 3 main races I focus on, and I'm trying to win.
It has got to be so tough to get good at racing a car like that when you're when you're not doing racing from June to October.
I'm telling you, I worked my butt off. You wouldn't believe my workout routine. No one probably would. So I'm hoping no one else does it. And that's my only. That's my only advantage. But yeah, I saw Riley Holt's new Monster Cup car, and I studied the last year's race. I studied that out, watched that all the time, and he had a pretty fast car. So I imagine that's what I'm going to be up against this year too. So
do you do any iRacing to help kind of keep sharp?
Every day. Yeah. Every day.
Is that the workout you're talking about, or are you actually talking about hitting the gym?
Oh, he's at the gym all the time.
Too.
Yeah, okay. That's great. That's because I work out every night watching TV, but
Yeah. Well, if you didn't see that Jimmy Johnson just ran 20 miles with David Goggins, and he's 40 years old, Jimmy Johnson. So.
Oh, who's he? Back to talking about Zach Ralston racing. Sorry, we got a little sidetracked there.
No, you're fine.
You know how we love telling stories.
Yeah. I'm just working hard. Yeah, I do the gym every day, sim laps every day, and try to set up meetings as much as I can at Cancun to involve more people in the partnership. And then my goal is to get to North Carolina and start working on the car as fast as I can.
And when you say Cancun,
in between.
When you say Cancun, you're talking about the Mexican restaurant over in your area. You're not talking about the state that is south of Mexico.
If you'd like to take me to Cancun, I'm all aboard.
I'm heading there in June. Why don't you come with, buddy?
Come on. Absolutely. I'm talking about the Cancun Mexican Bar and Grill in Cedar Rapids, yes sir, Iowa. So yeah, they've been a great sponsor and been helping me out find more people to be involved with the project. And they we're so happy to be involved, and we've already shown so much love to their restaurant that they're going to be on board for the new car build, and total support from them, so which has been great. So
you mentioned
awesome to have a sponsor, especially one that has amazing food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you mentioned you wanted to race Chicagoland again this year. Do you guys run with Cup there, or are you on a separate weekend?
I think we do. We do run with Cup. We run Friday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We run Friday, and then they run Xfinity runs Saturday and Cup runs Sunday.
Yeah, I just happened to look at the schedule today because we've been in contact with them. We met the track president down in Kansas Speedway last fall, and they want to try and run a promotion with us, so we're trying to get something put together, but we're not crossing paths very well. But yeah, that's June 29th is the Cup race, so you guys would be like the 27th or something like that, it sounds like.
Okay.
Well,
great.
Make sure to follow him on Facebook, Zach Ralston Racing, and make sure to give the tiling business a like also. I don't suppose you do house calls over in Council Bluffs, Iowa, do you?
Not at the moment. I just did get a call to go to Des Moines, and I had to turn that down. It just wasn't big enough. But if the job's big enough, we're not afraid to travel.
Well, I got like $200.
Yeah, come on. That pays gas.
All right, buddy.
Have a good tile job.
It's always great talking to you. You know, you got to.
I appreciate you both.
You've always got an open invitation. If you happen to find yourself in Omaha, you better give me a call.
I know I need to get up to that go-kart track too.
Yeah.
Hey,
come out to Joe's Karting.
We got
we'll
the perfect kind. We've got a big Daytona party coming up.
Yeah.
Here in a couple weeks, and literally the go-kart track's right across the street from where the party's going to be.
Awesome. Well, let me know. Send me a little invite on Facebook, and I'll put that on the schedule because I'm sticking around here. Little kind of a thing to look forward to. I'm doing a little documentary on my story, and potentially, we're going to redo the video, a little video, and actually do a book as well. So looking forward to that.
Awesome, man.
Sure.
Well, it's good to talk to you. Always love doing that. So make sure to take care, and we'll hit up with you soon.
All right. You guys have a great day. Thank you.
Have a good one, bud.
Thanks, Zach. You too.
All right. See you guys. Yep. All right. Bye-bye.
Make sure to follow him on Facebook, Zach Ralston Racing, and he'll take good credit. And by the way, if you happen to follow the tile business, I believe it's our tiling and remodeling. You're going to get jealous real quick.
Oh man, some of the work he does is amazing.
Every day I get in my shower and I look at my what do you call those? The plastic. It's a surround. It's a shower surround. And I look at it and I go,
Well, yeah, but you know when you do that custom tile work, and I mean he does the floors, he does the walls. That one he did with the backsplash in the kitchen.
Yeah,
and he didn't. You'll see that stuff with the little 2-inch by 1-inch pieces of tile where it's all set in a pattern and it's on a mesh that you just put up and put on the wall. Mm-hmm. He doesn't use the mesh. Each piece of tile is individual. It's just awesome, the stuff he does.
He does it one piece at a time, and he gets it done right. Zach Ralston Racing,
and
follow him on Facebook.
And he will charge you a dime.
But you pay for what you get, and you get some great work out of Zach. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in turn number 4 real quick. Like we've done for the last couple of weeks, we took a long turns 1, 2, and 3, so it's going to be a brief turn 4, but we're going to get you some information on the pickups contest coming up in just a couple of weeks.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
Hey, look at that. You're sitting on your couch playing Halo, Madden, or NASCAR while your friends are at Joe's Karting. Each lap is an adrenaline-filled, heart-pumping, white-knuckle experience that you can only get at the Metro's largest indoor karting track. Eco-friendly Honda engines rip you around the professionally designed road course at breakneck speeds. Can you reach the 14-second lap bracket? There's only one way to find out. Put the controller down and get to Joe's Karting, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs next to Quaker Steak and Lube.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Welcome back to it. Rolling into turn number 4, brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Man, we are just 2 full shows away from the Daytona 500 and being down at the Daytona 500 party at Quaker Steak and Lube. Delicious food, cold beers, Great burgers, absolutely great burgers. You're not going to want to miss out on those when you come down for the Quaker Steak and Lube party. They've got all sorts of fantastic food, and my favorite thing, they have finally brought back the Boom Boom shrimp, butterflied shrimp with some sort of sauce on it. It is absolutely amazing, and I think I can give an endorsement to that with Andrew Kaziski. Him and Carol always used to come down with us, and he would eat 2 or 3 orders of those things. They were so good, and I do the same thing. They're absolutely delicious. Get over to Quaker Steak and Lube today. If you take your race receipt from Joe's Karting over to Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll get 10% off of your bill. So since you're in the area, you're just across the road, you might as well head over there and do that. I want to say a big thank you to Quaker Steak and Lube for sponsoring us, and we're excited to announce a new sponsor coming on board this week, Mr. Fantasy, Chad Robb, joining us. He's going to sponsor the show for the next coming months as we all get set for the Pick'ems Contest Fantasy League presented by Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners. Chad's going to come on the show with us next week and kind of do some tips and tricks and get you set for the fantasy leagues. If you aren't a part of ours, he's also going to take care of you for the other types of fantasy leagues, ones ran by NASCAR and Yahoo.
Yeah, he covers pretty much anything, and sounds like he actually does pretty good if you're into what's the deal where you get like those $3 weekly pools and stuff like that.
I never get into those.
DraftKings is one of them, and I don't remember the other one, but there's a couple of those he said he's had some success in.
Yeah.
So
he said that most people had made their money back by race 5 of the NASCAR season for what he charges for an annual membership, and then everything after that was pure gold. Yep. As long as they followed his tips, he did some quick calculating and figured that he made everybody's money back within the first 5 weeks. So we're going to have him on the show next week. We want to say a big thank you to him for joining us. And, of course, Jim Blazina coming back on. If you're looking for real estate in the Blair area, make sure to give him a call. The Racing Realtor going to be out at I-80 Speedway for the season opener in a couple of weeks. So thank you to Jim Blazina. And, as always, thank you to Red Oak Fabrication for sponsoring the interviews. Rick Havenridge for bringing us the Pick'ems Contest. By the way, I got the trophy ordered for the Pick'ems Contest. So Barb, Jim's wife, is going to get this trophy, and she is really excited about it. And she has no idea what it looks like, so we're going to cover it and then present it to her at Quaker Steak during the Daytona party on February 17th.
Oh, that means we got to comb our hair and stuff for the pictures.
Oh, no, we got hats.
There we go.
And by the way, we do have new hats in. So same design. There's fitted hats and there's the flex fit hats and the snapback adjustable hats available too. You can pick those up at the Daytona 500 party. Again, February 17th at Quaker Steak and Lube. Kicks off at 12:30. I think we're going to get there at about noon, get everything set up, and start giving away at 12:30. And then the race starts at 1:30. So we'll watch the Great American Race, and we will make the presentation for our Pick'ems Contest champion from 2018. That's going to do it for us. I said it was going to be a quick turn, and that's what it is because we wanted to have plenty of time to talk with Stan Cisar about the Chili Bowl, Jordan Grabouski about his 2018 season and plans for 2019, and then, of course, Zach Ralston for joining us in turn number 3. Wanted to get caught up with our favorite ARCA driver over in the Iowa Cedar Rapids area.
Yep, he's enjoying the wonderful weather just like we have been for the last week.
Next week, like we talked about, we've got Mr. Fantasy Chad Robb joining us, and then we'll get a couple of other interviews. I got to get better at scheduling some of these guys, but we've had a couple of guys we've had to put off because of scheduling issues, but we're going to try to get you at least 2 interviews next weekend with Chad Robb, and then we'll talk all about the Daytona 500 contest. And, that's what we were going to do. We're going to preview some of the changes that have happened since Homestead, because there's a lot of driver changes that have happened over the season, and new drivers you're going to see in the cars, in different numbers at different stables for Daytona. So I want to kind of cover some of those big changes so that way you're ready to go for 2019.
Yep, and you better have a notepad.
Mm-hmm. We'll do that in next weekend during the front stretch. Big thanks to Joe's Karting for bringing us the show today. We'll do it all again next weekend. For Dirk Houston, I'm Dan Taylor. This has been The Front Stretch on AM 590.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you white knuckle racing by the river bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. Joe'sKarting.com for more information.
The official watering hole of the Front Stretch has you covered any day of the week with the best wings, great burgers, and amazing steaks. Each weekday from 4 to 6 is happy hour, featuring $1 off draft and well drinks plus $4 Luberitas. Mondays are kids' night. Tuesdays are all-you-can-eat wings for $12.95, and the lube even delivers to the Council Bluffs area. Like Quaker Steak and Lube Council Bluffs on Facebook for a full list of weekly events.
Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Mid-America Drive, Council Bluffs.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. To contact Dan or Dirk, find them on Facebook at The Front Stretch or email them at frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you missed any part of today's show or want to hear a previous show, subscribe to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, where you can find almost every Front Stretch show.